Hello, BookTube, and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. These are the books that I've been reading this past week, although I regret to say that I really haven't made great progress on any of them. It's not been a great reading week for a few different reasons. I have been legitimately busy this week. I've also wasted some time. There were a couple nights when I did actually have some time and I could have read more, but I wasted time on watching junk on YouTube. But be that as it may, not a lot to report this week, which, who knows, maybe that's for the best. There's no law that says I have to make a half-hour video every time I do these. If I just go through and briefly give some page numbers, maybe that's all right. Maybe that's better than my usual long-winded review. So, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. This week I read from page 456 to page 502, so almost 50 pages. I said this last week, but it's even more true this week. I'm right near the end of the first volume. The first volume, excluding the endnotes, finishes on page 542. So just 40 pages to go. I expect I'll probably be reviewing this first volume sometime this week. We'll see how it goes. Wolf Hall, sorry, not Wolf Hall, the Mirror in the Light, the third book in the Wolf Hall trilogy. I really have been making appallingly slow progress on this the last few weeks. I've been meaning to get back into it more, but I'm unfortunately I'm balancing too many books right now, so it's not been great for my reading. So I read from pages 392 to 414, so a little over 20 pages. In this, I don't really have much to report. The book of Numbers from the Bible, I only read a couple pages this week. Teaching Speaking, I only read a couple pages this week. I have actually been making good progress on the Watchmen, and maybe that's another one of the reasons I haven't been making much progress on the other books is because I've been focusing a lot on the Watchmen. So last time I was on issue 4. This time I'm just about finished with issue 8. As I mentioned last week, there are no cumulative page numbers in this edition. It's just the page numbers for the issues. And I actually have been spending a fair amount of time with this book this week. I still haven't finished it. I haven't had that much time. And it takes a bit to work through this book. I know it's a comic book, but it's a comic book with a fair amount of text and a lot of panels on each page. Not to mention the end of each issue is some sort of couple pages of written material. What exactly that is varies on the issue, but every issue ends with a couple pages of writing. I am largely enjoying this reread of Watchmen. It's the good parts of it are better than I remember. I had forgotten how good some of it is. I think I've also forgotten how much filler there is in this book. How much of it is just seems to be just padding, maybe in my opinion. And I also have forgotten how what's the word I want to use here? Brutal, grim, dark parts of it are, which don't always make for an enjoyable reading experience. I prefer something a little bit lighter when I'm reading comics. But I guess there's no law that says comics have to be light. The medium can convey any number of stories. As I mentioned last week, I am trying to prioritize working my way through Watchmen so I can get around to reading the Doomsday Clock and then get some of these books back into my school library, so I'm not hogging these books. Yeah, this has been probably the bulk of my reading this week. So, that's it for this week. I will see you next week, BookTube.